Hi everyone, thank you to be here. I'm Alison, I'm 28 years old and I founded UniVR Studio 3 years ago. Since childhood, I fall in love with video games, so I think it was an incredible way to tell stories and create emotions. So when I grew up, I worked hard to create my own games and my own stories. And when I first met the VR technology, I fell in love again because it was the first time I was not only playing a story but living it, and it was just stunning. And I decided to create my company, UniVR Studio, and now we create interactive experience in VR for brands.
Hello, my name is Maud Clavier and I'm the founder of Clap and Zap Production, a company that I created 3 years ago. At first, for 1 year, it has been a normal production company producing flat films, features and corporate. And when my associate discovered an article on the web about VR, we said, oh, we must do something very quick. So we've been the first one to do a very short feature in Europe in 360. It has stereoscopy in it, and it was a short parody in 2015. We were almost the only one 2 years ago in Cannes showing a 360 movie. It was funny. Until then, we've been doing corporate and talking about VR a lot because the market wasn't there yet. And this year we showcased a comedy called The Last Hero at the Next, which is not here now, but if you want to see the movie, I will be pleased to show it to you right after this talk.
Hi, hi. My name is Pierre Friquet, VR creator. I got the bug of VR in 2010 after having lucid dreaming, and since then I've been obsessed with trying to find the right medium to recreate that experience. So I found VR. Since really 3 years, since the sixth wave of VR's catch up, then I've been busier than before. I've directed more than 10, 15 experiences, documentaries, fiction, music videos, real-time experience also. Last year I showed Jet Lag at Cannes Next, which was a VR short film that I shot in Bombay and won also many awards and travel everywhere. All over the world, and this year I'm showing 3 VR films, 2 at Cannes Next, and one is called Patterns, which is a VR experience around hypnosis. And also tomorrow I'm going to show the third one, which is a documentary about the earthquake in Nepal I shot 2 years ago at the Majestic for NGO fundraising event. So I'm based in Montreal, and soon I'm going to move to New York.
This year we see a market that is starting to emerge and to structure itself. So the markets will drive the future of VR, and for producer to... I'm sorry about this sentence, it's not very clear. We need a producer, VR producer, to create content that will fit the required of this market that is emerging. Because otherwise people will not invest in our contents and will not be satisfied in too much experimental content. It's great to see. We need it. We still need to have experimental content, but we still know we will need to provide the distributors and the markets with contents that the audience will will love, and the contents that they will pay for it to get more and more of this. Is it answering?
Pass it to
Leslie?
Same question, if you can all...
I think that future will be a mix of virtual reality and augmented reality. So because production tools are evolving so quickly, thanks to Web 2.0 enterprises like Facebook, thanks to Intel, Google, and high-quality mobile technology telephone, then that is going to be amazing. We're still trying to find ways and create stuff. So let's see what's going to happen. I'm hoping that there will be some kind of an evolution. For example, that you will be able to touch a virtual world and then to have a touchback, some kind of interfaces like that. So I'm looking forward to all, to all these evolutions. And I'm working with digital artists, with BCI, brain computer interfaces, in order to create new experiences. And what I can say that amazing things are gonna happen. So let's see.
So for me, this morning I saw the Iñárritu VR experience, and I think clearly it's the future. It's just crazy. It's difficult to talk about it because if you know too much, it's not so strong. But at the end, clearly, what we need is to find a balance between how can we live the 360 videos for real VR, then how can we build a real content in VR and not just video game in VR, movies in VR, etc. Okay, we have science, we have a lot of things like medicine, etc. But the thing for me, for now, we have TV, movies, video games on kind of projected image. And now we are inside the image, and it's the thing. It's not just VR is a technology. No, it's just a totally new way to write, but also to imagine new ways, not just to tell stories, but to express different form of art with the technology. And so for me, the future is how, when, and I hope it will be very, very, very soon, we will find the good words to talk about VR and stop very quickly to talk about, in fact, create a market based on something that is already dead. And because, for example, today in movies, in the movie industry, everybody is like, okay, it's horrible, we have too many movies, it's horrible, too much things to watch. But the good thing in VR, in fact, is not so much content, so it's pretty easy to sell it very well. So I think now we really need to focus on what is good and just good, and sell it very well, and find the good people to watch it. So for now, it's easy to see that everything almost is on PlayStation VR in terms of audience, to have what is really VR, and we need to use more the Samsung and all these flatties 360 movies to in fact bring people in real positional tracking storytelling and other forms of the future of VR.
Well, my vision for the future of VR is, let's say, I would like to see a future rather than I would like to imagine it from here, because my vision of the future with virtual reality would be pretty much looking like we use this new technology to put a lot of people in the shoes of a lot of other people, because this is the first time in our history that we have the power to be in the shoes of another for real, because since then we have always used empathy as a tool to imagine another reality, but now this is the first time in our history that we can be somebody else, that we can live another story, another reality. And my hope for virtual reality is that in the near future we will be able to experience a lot more different realities that we can think of, and be more open-minded about what it means, reality, and what it means to be sharing this same reality all together. So this is my vision for VR and for narration.
Yeah. So before VR was a technology, it was actually a dream, an idea, and the idea that as an experiencer, as a visitor, as a viewer of a VR experience, you could suddenly be in tune with imagination, with your own imagination, and having a technology to enable the imagination to manifest. So completely this like a feedback between inside and outside. So pretty much being inside a dream. But there will be like 3 steps, of right now VR. First, we are going to see soon the web VR. This is very important. So in other words, it's metaverse. The term has been coined by William Gibson in 80s in a book of Neuromancer. So being really diving in a network, which is internet, but we're using space. So there'll be embodied informations, specialized space, meaning rooms full of so there'll be different experiences. What you experience now in the internet, but using VR as a gateway, as a technology to really immerse yourself, into what internet should be, the metaverse, the cyberspace. Then there'll be the 3rd generation of VR. So the 1st generation of VR is 360 video. You can look around. 2nd is positional tracking, location-based content. So using the Vive, using the Oculus Touch. And the 3rd generation of VR technology will be biofeedbacks. So we can actually have different kind of sensors around the body, and using your pulse, the heartbeat, and any form of bio data to feed the content that you're experiencing. So it'll be really again a full cycle in and out, in input output, experience. And the 3rd really future of VR will be dynamic reality, DR, which other words is tangible media. At the MIT lab, they're actually already starting doing that. And so this is imagining VR without headset, without any actually flat screen. We're still having a flat screen in front of our eyes. Whether it's Oculus or Samsung Gear VR, we're still using old technology. And this is to say that it's, to give you a better example, it's using imaging holograms, but being actually tangible. So imagining each a pixel could be a nanoparticle, and you could actually touch what is projected in front of you. So this is dynamic reality, and we're talking about 50 years from now, and soon, it's going to. So that's really the final stage, I think, of virtual reality.
Hi there. So for me, like today, VR is where the smartphone industry used to be at the very beginning. Like each device has their own platform, has their own form of narrative. Because now, if you write for HTC Vive, like a device where you can move and play, and if you write for a 360 degree or when you're just looking around, it's very different. And you have now more and more hybrid stuff, like for example in between, like 360 videos with hotspot. You can move in the video. So for me, the first future of the industry is to have a mix between the video game industry, which has very cartoon graphism for the moment, and 360 videos. For example, we've been on a project scanning an actor and being in his shoes and walking around in a VR world. So our thing is to do it better and better and to be more and more realistic. But that doesn't mean it will kill 360 video, because 360 video will always exist and be more accessible on your smartphone device or any device. Then I believe strongly in artificial intelligence, because I used to do a AI hackathon using Watson of IBM. It's like one artificial intelligence they made. So when I'm talking about those future VR worlds looking very realistic, maybe you will be in the shoes of Brad Pitt and talk with Nicole Kidman, and she will just answer the way you talk to her naturally. So that will be a lot of fun. And also, as said Pierre and Naomi, many research are made on touching in VR, smelling in VR, walking in VR. We try to put more and more all the senses in VR. Today is very on your visual, so your brain thinks I'm there, but I'm not completely there because I'm not in my body. Even later, I see like you will have a VR experience being in the shoes of someone else or in your own shoes. If we make a scan of yourself, you would be yourself in the movie and talking to whoever you want. we've been also with my associate trying to imaginate what if you would be in the world of Lady Gaga, like a big room looking like her, and then you click, you can go on her video clip, then you click, you can go on a shop and buy things just by clicking on something. It will go in your pocket and Amazon will tax you for that. So there is there is a lot of possibilities, and today we are at the very beginning, and when we are thinking about what it will become and how it will become, even as said Naomi, for health, for any, my thing is more like entertainment. I'm really into entertainment, but there's so much possibilities for it.
Nice speech. I agree a lot with Maud. I think the future of virtual reality is really interactions, because today this technology is used in video games, in movies, in that's all. It's all entertainment. But when you see people interact with virtual objects, it's just crazy, because they do exactly the way they will do in reality. They interact naturally with their environment, any object present in the scene. So you think it's really the future of interaction is to transform this interaction into something so natural that you don't need to explain anyone how to interact with something in VR. And once we do that, you can apply virtual reality at any industry in the world. You can do health, you can do e-commerce, e-shop. Yeah, you can do anything with this technology. And the only things that is lacking today is this feedback, these feelings, and this interaction. We're working hard to do that, but it's not really really easy. Yes, there is a lot of technological limits actually, but we will do that. And this is the future of VR. It's interaction. It's really interact with the virtual environment like you never do it before.
So just real quick, one last question to everyone on the panel. For those of us who don't know much about integrating into your world, can you give us 3 to 4 tips on how to get into the production, VR production?
Okay, hard question too. To my mind, there is a lot of important things, but I see 4 of them really, really important. First, this is create a living environment. If you put something in an environment that is dead and empty, you need to attract the attention of the brain into something living. This could be animals, this could be moving objects, but if you don't, the brain of the user know that you're cheating with his brain. And this is not real. This is absolutely not real if there is no life into this virtual environment. This is the first point. Second point, it's feedbacks. Feedbacks are very, very important. I personally make interactive virtual reality content. So when you grab something, when you throw something, when you reverse an object or anything else, you need to have a feedback that corresponds, and you need to have an object that reacts exactly the way it needs to react. And if it's not, you completely broke the immersion, and the immersion in VR is the most important thing you can have. So it's very important. And last tips. Sound is very, very important too, and it's a big work to sound design correctly in 3D space. The sound, it's really a challenge today. And be passionate. Be passionate, because you will need to test, and the testing is so hard in VR, because you need to do the things a lot of time, and you can just at a moment it's very difficult to continue, but test your experience, make a lot of tests with other people, see how they react, grab their feedbacks, and listen to them until you make it, until you succeed to create an interaction in VR that is just perfect.
So to encourage you, I started this without knowing anything about production or VR or anything. I just started and said, let's go. So anyone can do it if I can do it. But before doing it and following it, I'm talking more about the 360 video part. You have to be aware of which camera you use. You have to be aware of not putting too much movement into your films, because in VR the sensation is really different. When you get inside a world, you cannot use your own tips for cinema for VR. It's a new way of telling story, a new rhythm. So it's very important for me to stay there, because you can get sickness if you're moving in the movie and that in real you're sitting. First tips. And then try to ask yourself, why do I want to write this story in VR? Why is it better than on flat screen? Just the excuse of being immersed is not enough. You have to think, what's the immersion is bringing to my audience? What the message I want to tell them? Because many people are making VR like, okay, I put a 360 camera and that will do the job. This is not true anymore. And today you have to really think about your storytelling, and one more thing, you have to write differently depending on which device you want to promote your VR. Alison is more talking about the video game industry, so it will be more like HTC Vive, Word you can move in. And 360 video, you can have 360 video on YouTube, Facebook without hotspot. You can have it on Samsung Gear, and then you can click on stuff maybe to get teleport to avoid the movement and the sickness. You can have then a room scale. I mean, depending on where you want your movie to go, you have to think about it differently. And then VR is a very complicated word, because there is a lot of new people inside, more than cinema. You know, in cinema there is the one for the light, the sound and all. And here we are including a technical part. So Pierre was talking about web VR. We have partner in web VR. We have sound people. Don't trust you can be an artist and do your thing by your own, buying a crap 360 camera and then promoting it. It will be bad. For VR, we need to be a team even more than for cinema or anything else. So you have to be careful to meet people, to see where you're strong, where you're not strong, because you cannot be Superman and be strong everywhere, or then you're Einstein and congrats. So just don't hesitate to network more and more, and to learn more and more, and to read about the media, because it changes every 4 months. You have new stuff happening.
Okay. Now I think of it. So you have said a lot of things that I wanted to say.
Sorry.
So I have other stuff. I think other tips. You need to follow your guts. I mean, just to really follow your instinct, and also, I mean, jump into VR for the right reasons. Very concretely, just apply for meetups. You know, I mean, it's not really a culture here in France, but abroad there's a lot of meetup.com, there's a lot of groups where people meet and just exchange skills and informations, and sometimes get hands-on stuff, and or sometimes also you can create a hackathon, and if you want to start, and that'll be good, game jam. I don't know if it's in French. Yeah, so that's a good way to start. The second thing is to unlearn a lot of stuff, and even stop watching flatty films, stop watching YouTube, stop watching Netflix, stop everything, because you have been ingrained to this stuff, and it's actually quite profound, because we are coming out of 800 years of this tyranny of of the gaze, from Renaissance. It's really ingrained in our culture to be forced to look at, the first reaction when you're creating something in VR is like, where do people look? How do I force people to look where I want to them to look? And it's really old habit that should not be there. And the third tip will be to have money also. It needs quite a Yeah, really, it's quite annoying. But and then there's also a great. To counter argue what I say, it's also great to build a community around you, and VR is what maybe internet was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like really helping, supporting each other. It depends actually. Now VR in the US is quite competitive right now, and AI is interesting. People are now doing a lot of cooperation in AI, so it depends on where you are based. Well, yeah, I would say just same thing. Just follow your instinct.
I like this. Follow your instinct. And I like this too, that you have to be careful what you want to create in virtual reality, because actually there is maybe something but there is 1/3 of your brain that is each second processing visual informations. So which means if I put you into VR, there is 1/3 of your brain that is hacked by me, by the content I put on your head. So yes, follow your instinct. Try to find something that has value. If you want to add something to the narrative, if you want to create something new, add value, and ask yourself if you are going to mindfuck your audience, or if you're going to give them something that is really, really cool, that gives them pleasure or inspire them. Because yes, you have a lot of power when you create VR and you put somebody into your headset, because they will be stuck with your imagination for 10 minutes. So this is instinct, vision, and a little bit of responsibility too, but keep being creative.
For me, it's like you have to prototype a lot of things, so try to do a lot of things, but show only the best. And about just follow your guts, because all, me included, everybody is like, okay, you can or you can't do that in VR. We don't care. Just do what you think you have to do, because it's really about who you are and who are different type of people around the world. And I think the third thing is all constantly, even if it's a comedy, if it's narrative, ethics need to be in the center of what you are doing, because it's very, very important in the process to think about who is the audience, what I'm doing to the brain, to their lives, because we will see that very, very quickly. You can't just put a guy in a tank and imagine that war is nothing for a brain. And especially if you're good, it could be really, really dangerous. So you need to have a message, you need to have something in your mind, you need to, just not acting like, okay, I want to be part of this market, I want to be just the next game changer, I want to be in VR. No, just think about what you really want to be as a human, and after think about what you could do with this in VR.
I think that you have to go beyond the immersive experience for sure. But now, cameras are getting cheaper and cheaper. You can even get a Samsung and try your own VR experimentation. So I would say don't be too careful. Just go for it and try. Experiment and see what's going to happen. After that, it's a new media. So it's new for everyone. And it has to be a new medium so that we're able to create a real artistic proposition, or like another meaningful kind of proposition. But just be curious and try it, wherever you are. So.
What else do I have to say? I try to give advice of producer with wisdom, maybe. Don't presume of anything, either it is artistically or technically. Learn a lot you can, all you can learn it. Try to understand how the technology works, either it's a CGI VR or 360 videos. Don't burn the steps. and push your creativity forwards. I think that's all I can say.
What about a money tip? Finding money for it.
Yeah, finding money. This is a producer, a question for the producer. Yeah. Regarding money, I mean, in France we are lucky to have a public fund that can finance 50% to your project. But as I said first, regarding the market today, we can't go with all kind of projects anymore that are very, very expensive experimental content. We still need some of them, but we need to go in an industrial process in order to create good quality content and good stories that can be sold. So you can convince some private investor to invest on your project, and moreover convince distributor to buy your project, because if you have a coherent budgets, your investors, your distributors, they know that somewhere, someday, they will get their money back, and we could start monetize our contents. Basically.
I think we have time for some questions, so if you have a question, can you raise your hand? Anyone?
Au fond là-bas.
Can you speak up, or do you need a microphone?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question basically is a lot about distributing and how you find ways to really show to the audience, and do you also see a way to show it in the cinema? Like
Here.
cinemas, or like what is your experience in distribution?
Just here. I'm so sorry.
Should I repeat the question?
No.
Okay. So my question would be mainly about distribution, how you see ways on showing your content to a broad audience, or like to show it to your targeted audience, and also if you see a way in cinema, like to create a feature film, let's say, for cinema, but also show it as a VR.
Okay. There's a different way of distribution. We see lately some VR cinemas occurred. IMAX has opened a place in Los Angeles with more video game contents. They plan to open 100 more room, I think, around the world. And this is a place where people go. They buy a ticket of times, like 25 minutes, 30 minutes of content, and they can play or use and live different experience. This is one way to distribute your contents. The other way is the traditional way on the different platform, but equipment, if you want a good quality equipment, you still need to buy something around 2,000 euros. So it's quite expensive for some people, so that's why this kind of place occurred. Then regarding 360 cinemas where you can share an experience, I think there's last years in Berlin they tried something like this with spherical theaters. I didn't see it. Yeah, maybe it will happen sometime for some typical events, but Maud, you want to add something, Leslie?
No, I just wanted to add something to say, now in VR, most of the time your pre-production is closely connected to your distribution. For example, if you want to make an interactive film, like with more close to a video game, you will propose it to the HTC Vive platform, for example, which is the headset in which you can play. And if they give you money before making your film, then you will distribute it to their platform or to cinemas. Like the more kind of easy is your content close to the 360, the more easily you will distribute it on the web. You can distribute it on YouTube and Facebook too, like for free, the free distribution. And now you have more and more platforms, and I'm sure pretty soon Netflix and Amazon are going to come up with a platform, VR platform for the movies. So they are going to give you money for your movie, and then they will have it on their platform. So it's kind of still not so clear, the distribution today. We are all struggling with that, but we're starting to see few tips.
They actually buy. Netflix and Amazon and Hulu, they're actually buying contents, but we still don't have sufficient content to provide them. We still need to create content. They want more and more content. We have a lack of content. We know how to manage technologies now, but they still need good quality and good stories in 360 for their audience.
So I think the VR industry is going towards adopting the music industry. So basically creating events and places to experience these VR experiences and using the digital platforms as the marketing tool. You know, so there'll be maybe free content, maybe small duration, just extracts of the actual VR experiences in 360-degree non-linear version, and the full VR interactive version will be in physical places like IMAX or maybe soon MK2, Gaumont, or that.
Does anyone else have a question for our panel? Okay. Well, let's...
Maybe I can add something regarding the financing of the content. As I said previously, the first experience was quite expensive to produce. Now we are on a process where for 80,000 euros you can do a 10 minutes of 360 productions and video. No 3D, no so much VFX, but a movie of 10 minutes can be done for 80,000 euros. So between 60 and 80,000 euros, you can have something, and you have an opportunity to monetize it after through distribution and selling.
Sorry, I just add one last point because I forgot to talk about it. Like for our last movie called The Last Hero, for example, I co-produced with a company called Clay, and they found some private partnership for the shooting, like with a champagne brand, other brand, to start to have money. So this is kind of a new deal too. You can find private brand that want to finance your movie to distribute it on public platform, or their interest for the moment is your content to be the more seen, so it's more close to the 360. You can distribute on Facebook, YouTube, but it's still a way you can think about.
I mean, and I think you have to be a pirate, you know, you have to really hack the system, because, you know, it's a mess. The institutions, the funding systems, the distribution, private people, they don't understand. They just see this VR thing coming, and they try to catch the wave, and they haven't figured out really, you know, what to do with it. So there are the traditional flatty broadcasters that are doing some stuff, but the future, the VR, the future, VR broadcasters of the future will not be the today broadcasters. So there'll be also new emerging people really understanding VR and really using VR in their DNA to really help creators. So you can do a VR experience for low money if you really create partnership with, you know, technical partners to get a camera, to get post-production facility. So you need to make really strategic partnership with people who can really help you to provide tools, you know, so you can really have a lot of in-kinds, you know, and you have to think like that, you know, get in-kinds, not cash flow.
Okay, I just may add something. I've been talking with distributors, and they might co-produce actually movies in VR. It's what they've been talking. What they talked to me. So and there is like offline distribution and online distribution. So offline just means projection-based movie theaters. So, and these theaters could also like pay you, you know, and for international, for online platforms, you can get also a bit of money. So.
Any other questions? Oh,
Okay, it's kind of hard to say because, as Pierre said, we had a lot of technical partnership, like with the people helping us with the camera, with the people doing the post-prod and stuff. So I think for the shooting, we basically had 3,000 euros cash and all the rest by services and partnership, and same for post-pro. because we had partnership, a lot of people happy to work with us because it was the first movie with 13 actors all around. So we have, for example, a sound company in Belgium. They did all the post-pro for free because they were so happy to show their technology, which is sound tracking. Their name is Sonicville, and when you watch somewhere, the sound is higher. And same for a partnership with WebVR, and all those people were happy to work on it for the moment, and it's the right moment because people are enthusiastic about VR, so you can more easily find partners now.
I have one question. Did any one of you see the Inarito VR project? I didn't, but I would be very curious what you say. How is it?
Well, it's perfect. It's impressive, and after this, you see they are already giants in the industry. Clearly, it's more about. As I said, it's complicated to talk about it. It's not even about spoilers. It's just about what is a real experience. Clearly. Okay, the very, very good thing about that is, okay, it's about migrants, and it's the perfect balance in terms of how you experience it between a documentary and a fiction. But it's not a traditional documentary with fiction. Because, in fact, honestly, it's so emotionally violent that, in fact, you're absolutely not intellectualizing what you are experimenting. It's crazy. Clearly, you're just a few things. You're in a room with sound on the ground, and your feet are naked, and it's a room scale. Pretty huge one. So you are walking the desert by night, and you see these migrants come to you, that are coming to you. You're in terms of point of view, I don't want to express too much details. You see if you want to see it one day. I hope so. But the really. It depends on you in VR. It's like, okay, for example, for me, a woman just felt, and her kid just helped her, and I felt with them. I was on my knees, close to them, and a fucking big helicopter come to me with the sound, with the wind all around me, and you're like dying. It's impossible, to compare to what we talked about before, because it's really, really strong in a way that you need, in fact, to contextualize the experience. And this is the second really brilliant part of this. What can I say? Just one thing. When you enter, the room when you experiment this, it's not the first one. You enter in the other room before, and you have shoes all around you, and you need to take off your shoes. But all these shoes, actually, they come from Mexican desert. So it's like you're alone with this mood, and it's really, really, really tough. And after this, your emotions are, is like disconnecting your cortex for your reptilian brain, and push you to react and not think. And after, it pushes you to think. And it's very, very smart. So try it. And it's in Milan during a few months, in a few weeks, I think.
Yeah, well, also the problem is that it will be at the foundation of Prada, Prada Foundation in Milan, But there's also this kind of schizophrenia, of VR being very elitist, very inaccessible, very hard to reach. I mean, you got tickets for that. I mean, will be lucky to get a ticket tonight for the invitation, but it's very hard to try and catch, the really true VR experiences, They're very hard. I mean, it's also a model which is not scalable, How they can get money back from this experience, I mean, it might have cost really millions, and there's this partnership with ILM X Lab, and so there'll be also a problem of VR and VR distribution is the prices and the different government taxes on the headsets, for example. If you look at in Asia or South America, the prices are high. Even in Canada, actually, the taxes are high for the Vive. So we need to be careful at. See what's happening right now in VR is not going to reflect, what VR should be. I don't know if that makes sense, but we are seeing right now a lot of experiences, high-end experiences like the Inarial 2 one, which are very expensive to make, and we have no source of revenue whatsoever. And we need also to understand that it's a mess, and slowly things. We have been doing stuff, but you also, if you want to get stuff in VR, you are going to have an impact on what VR is. So right now, if we are dealing with distributors, we are dealing with prices, negotiating with the percentage of revenue, and we are going to set a trend, a template for you guys, or you are going to also, when you're doing your own VR stuff, you're going to make decisions that impact other people, other creators, other content producers. Does it make sense?
And talking about impacting, I wanted to add something regarding your description of Iñárritu's VR content. Okay, you were talking about the context engineering around the VR film itself. Okay, it is brilliant. It is brilliant, and it is very important, because what you are describing is something that is really shocking to the public. It is very violent, strongly violent, and you are talking about this moment where you cannot think, you cannot be into your intellect anymore. You're just frightened, and you think you're gonna die. And in fact, what's happening in your brain at this very moment is that it's your reptilian brain that it's in action. It is, okay, I want to survive, I'm in a deep threat. And if you go after this experience and there's nothing to prove you that it was only a film and it's stopped and your life comes back to you, your reptilian brain doesn't know time. It doesn't know time. So once you have been traumatized, you are traumatized every day till somebody tell your brain that it's finished. So you really need to be careful with something that is violent, that is scary, because if you don't give the right amount of information before and after, you can be traumatized for real in virtual reality. And it is used for PTSD, actually. It has been used since the Vietnam War with soldiers. We use virtual reality to help them control their nightmares, because we recall their traumatic experiences and we use it to tell the brain, the reptilian brain, that it is over and now that it's over, they're safe. So if you can use it that way, you can use it the other way, the wrong way, to traumatize people. So this is the reason why you have to be very careful in which experience you put people and how you put them into that and how they go out of it.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Each one of you had so much information to share, so thank you for your time. I guess we'll wrap it up, and if you guys want to approach any speakers, I believe they would welcome that. All right, thank you, everyone.